was squashed. You can't do something like that. So she was expecting AI related projects, blockchain related projects, something that I'm going to use like less than 2 months. AI related projects, and those big projects. But I was able to identify something. I worked on a web related project. I'll explain my project and how I got her to accept it, so that you can see if you can use it to convince. Leaving everything to the lecturers, they want you to work on something that can solve all the problems of the world. It is you as a student who knows the time that you have, and then it is always better you get them to accept your project than they proposing a project on you, because whatever projects mostly they propose, you would never finish. And please take note that it's better to pick a simple project that you would get to finish in time than pick a big project that it is a very good project but you'd not finish and then like the time is up. So please pick a project that you think you can finish. For me, how should you pick a project? I'm not talking based on any outline, so forgive me if I repeat some things. One, how should you pick a project? It's always advisable you don't look too far. You look around you, and then you try to identify something that you find uncomfortable, and then try to solve it. For me, choosing a project idea was very hard because I didn't just want to do anything at all. Some people were doing expense tracker, right? Some very common projects on YouTube. Some lecturers were accepting it, but I didn't want to do anything at all because I'm someone who likes to make noise on LinkedIn. Like I like keeping my online profile nice. So I was looking for a project that when I go and stand somewhere and then talk about it, people would see me as good in the field of computer science. So it took about more than 3 weeks before I was able to pick a project. I worked on, you see, if you want an internship letter, like you really go through a lot of hurdles. You have to go to the department. There are times that you have to form queues for them to before you get a letter. And then I don't know the number of you who have heard of KNUST transcripts. At first, if you want transcripts, you'd have to go to the UITS. So let's say you are abroad and then you're an alumni of KNUST and then you need your transcripts. You have to come all the way from wherever you are to campus and then request for one. So the university saw a need and then they brought the KNUST transcripts, right? So now you can just go online and then request for transcript. That wasn't how it was. So I looked at KNUST transcripts and I was like, why don't we have something like that for internship letters and English proficiency letters? For those of you who have started applying for things, if you want an English proficiency letter or if you want a letter of recommendation, you have to chase lecturers at their offices, right? You have to chase lecturers at their offices, going and coming before they are able to do that for you. So I was thinking, why are these processes not automated? Something that you can just go online to do it. So if you are choosing a project, don't go and look at things that are not really relevant. I'm not saying mine was relevant because after doing it, it's not like we use it right now. But try to find a problem, right? Even if it's not anything big, something that you find uncomfortable doing, try to find a problem and then work around that problem. And so after identifying this problem, I started thinking, okay, fine, how would I solve this problem? And then it was left with make a web application or a mobile app, right? And like, who would want to download an application? Who would want to download an application? Hello, can you hear me? Hello. Okay, so who would like to download a whole app on the App Store just to request for a letter, and then when the person is done, the person has to delete it, right? It's not really feasible. So it all boiled down to making a website. But I was under this lecturer who said she didn't want any websites. End of story. You can't work on any website. You can't work on any web app. And then I was determined that I was going to let her accept my project. So while she was rejecting other people's projects, I go to my next thing. How do you get lecturers to accept your project? Sometimes people have very nice project topics, right? But the way they will explain it to you, or the kind of titles they give to their projects, it wouldn't make the thing look appealing. So yes, I was working on a website or a web application, and I knew this woman didn't like websites, so I didn't give my my website, like my project, a website that allows you to request for internship letters. When she sees the website now, I know she won't continue reading. So try to put your project titles in a way that would sound convincing. I know someone who was making a store management system. Now, there's this thing that all the lecturers are like, they don't accept anything that is management related. It can't be school management system, it can't be hospital management. But this person was working on store management, and to make them accept his project, he gave it, he titled the project, I think, Stock Pot, an innovative way to keep track of something, something, something. Try to make sure your titles are like interesting, with a little bit mystery around it. So talking about it, I made sure I omitted the name website in my proposal. I didn't say I'm developing a website to do this, this, and that. I'll not really talk about proposal much because it differs from every lecturer. Some lecturers don't really demand proposals from their students, right? Some lecturers will just ask you to come to them and then explain what you want to do. Some lecturers would take proposals and not really read them. So when you assign lectures, it would depend on how you are supposed to go about your project proposal. So I don't really talk about proposal. But one thing to take note of is to please check how you title your project, the kind of names you give to them. And please make sure you pick a project that you'd be able to finish. With the project I was working on, I really struggled. I had to build a whole number of websites. I had to add pay stack so that people can be able to pay, because requesting for letters are not really free. And I almost didn't finish. I'm going to talk about lectures. When you get someone like Dr. Kate, Dr. Rose, they are going to stress you, but the kind of stress is going to help you. These are kind of lectures that will put a lot of deadlines on staff. Bring me project proposal at the end of this time, bring me this. So when you get supervisors like that, people will start laughing at you, but trust you me, it's going to help you. People that were working under these lectures finished like 3 weeks earlier. If you get a project supervisor like Pamford, he would never ask you for it, right? He will never ask you what you are doing. You can do whatever you want. But for people like that to check and then award you the marks, right? Well, you don't really have a control over whoever you get. But I would suggest that when you get a lecturer, right? Or when you get a lecturer as a supervisor, try to talk to people who have worked under those lecturers. Let them tell you how the lecturer is, so that you know how to pick your topic. And then you know. Yes, try to talk to people who have worked under those lecturers. Like, really do that. A pace of. And what else did I say I'll talk about? And then I'll come to defense. It's not really final year project. Some supervisors would just tell you to send them a documentation of what you've done. Honestly speaking, they will not read it. So to be able to make the lecturer give you good marks, make sure you've gone to the lecturer to describe what your project is from the start. Because after doing it, some of them will tell you to upload your projects to GitHub. Some people will ask you to put it on a drive and then bring it to them, they'll run it. But look at like about 500 and something people and like 30 people assigned to a lecturer. the lecturer will not get time to go to GitHub to download everybody's own. And trust you me, like everybody's project runs in different environments. Let's say I worked on a Flutter project, someone worked on a React Native project, learning project. This lecturer is not going to download all the libraries and then get the environments needed to run all these applications to see that, oh, this person really puts effort into it, so let me give this person this marks. So please try to let the lecturer understand the work you are going to put in from the start. If you go there to explain to the lecturer, reach about the problem before, go and wow them from the start. If you don't really know what you're doing, go and mention all the libraries that you know. I'm going to do this and this. I'm going to prepare data sets. I'm going to clean them. I'm going to make sure. So from the start, the lecturer knows what you are doing. So that when the lecturer hears your name or hears your project, the lecturer will be like, oh yeah, it's a very good project. Because a lot of them will not really go through what you've done. Some lecturers will give you the chance to defend it. For my lecturer like this, she asked us to make a poster, paste our code there, so that should go through. And honestly, I knew she will not go through. And the kind of work that I put in, I wasn't going to let her give me any mark. So we went to her and then we suggested that she give us like 5 minutes to just talk about our projects. Because if I'm running my projects, let's say I'm presenting and I have errors, I'll know where to go to in my project that won't bring out those errors. I'll go to the strong points in my project. So if you also get the chance to like present it, it would be a good idea. Dennis, what else haven't I covered? Because I'm
scoring of the project work. How did you score it and the timelines? When we're supposed to start and everything. Yeah.
Okay, so I think they score on certain criteria. Maybe Redolf will talk about it. How convincing your project is. One, is your project actually filling a need, right? Is it solving a particular problem? And then some people to check if it's like a project just off the internet. I know someone who was working on a web scraping project. For people that are into data science and AI, when you hear this project, you'll be like, oh, this person is going to take the code from this place. There are codes online that people take. I'm not saying don't do that. If you do that, try to add something unique to it. And it's a 2 credit hour course. So it's going to be scored over 100 like every other course. Some people are able to get very, very good marks. And some people get to work on their projects alone. Mini projects is supposed to be alone, but because our numbers have been increasing, someone like Gaddafi grouped his people into like 5 groups. So they were working 5 in a group for a particular project. And let's say you don't get partners that would help, you are doomed. But for other lectures, my supervisor like this, we worked alone. So I was doing my project alone. And it's very, very, very easy to get a good score in mini projects because everything depends on your supervisor. It's not like final year that other lecturers get to see what you've done. So, and then try to visit your supervisor as often as possible. I've gotten to this place, I'm stuck, I'm doing this, so that they'll know that, oh, even if you are going to steal the code somewhere, go to them, let them feel that you're actually doing something. And yeah, it's actually easy to get good marks if you get a good supervisor. Some supervisors, when you go there, you'd have to start praying for a miracle. Because even if you work on a project that solves bombs from like bombing the universe or something, they will still not look at it and give you any proper mark. I'm sorry to say there are lectures like that. I'm not here to mention names, but some lectures are just some way. When you get a lecture like that, work on the project, all right, but do it for yourself. Because if you put your all into a project and you go and then you are giving 40, 60, you will feel betrayed, right? So do it as if you are doing it for yourself. For me, like this, my project has helped me in a lot of ways. There are a lot of applications that I've cited that in my 3rd year as a computer science student, I worked as this, and that. And the way I write it, it will look like when you come to KNUST, they are using it in my department to take recommendation letters. But the thing is, I've done it. It's in KNUST records that this is the mini project I worked on. So like, aside you getting grades from it, if you make a very good project out of it, you can use it to flex. It can be something nice on your CV. And then some people to choose projects based on what they know or what they are comfortable doing. It's a good idea, but you wouldn't really grow if you don't go out of your comfort zone. I'm not saying go and take something that is bigger than you, but set yourself up for a challenge. It was the first full stack project I ever worked on. I was comfortable working in front end. My front end car, I wouldn't even say it was good, yeah. But then I went to pick a project that involved me using React, involved me using Node. It involved a lot of things I didn't know, and because I was limited to a time period, it forced me to learn. So if you know you're up for a challenge, pick something that you don't really know everything, and then maximize using ChatGPT. It really, really, really helps. It helps like a lot. ChatGPT was like my go-to. I didn't have a project partner, so I'll go there and I'll be like, do you remember the project I talked to you about? Okay, so I'm adding this feature. What pages do you think when I add? And then there were times that I needed information from lecturers' information. I needed their emails and then other stuff. And the only thing that I didn't know how to web script. I just went to copy. I went to the staff repository and then copied all the divs. And then I asked ChatGPT to change it to the JSON form of like their names, their emails, and then it did it in a very swift instant. If I was going to pick them one by one, I would have spent a lot of time on it. So try to use ChatGPT a lot. You can use it to write your proposals. I use it to write my proposal, but when you read it, you don't know. Some people will copy from ChatGPT and copy the question that would say, "How can I help you today?" And then looking at it, it's like very obvious it's from ChatGPT. So maximize that too. Dennis, is there anything else I haven't touched on?
Yeah, I mean, for the resources you mentioned, ChatGPT, were there maybe some other websites that you use, getting the project ideas, some places that or some materials that you got to use that really helped?
Okay, so there's this thing that I figured out, but that was after my mini project. This one was final year projects. There are there are schools that publish projects people work on. I got this website about a Chinese university. I'll try and look for the link. It's like every year they pick their 10 best projects, then they'll come and post it. Looking for a final year project idea, that website really helped me.
Wow.
At first I tried asking ChatGPT. I was asking it for good projects as a third year student, but doing that, a lot of people too are asking it the same questions. It's going to give you general answers. And then I also went to some schools' websites. The UI that I used, I stole a lot from other places. There are actually resources, but how to find them is a problem. So okay, one, I use ChatGPT, and then for my proposal, I didn't want to write everything from scratch. There wasn't time, so I took proposal of a senior, someone that was ahead of me, right? So the proposal, I copied like the whole introduction. By then, I had already described my project to ChatGPT. I told ChatGPT that this is what I'm working on. These are the programming languages I'm using and all right. So I copied the whole introduction and I'll go and post it there. And I'll be like, looking at this introduction, it should restructure my else that helped me. For documentation, honestly, do not read it, but they'll ask you to bring it. For my supervisor, she didn't ask for documentation. She asked us to make a poster. That one, her TA sent it to us, and then we edited it. So those are some of the materials I used. Yes. And then I also used KNUST transcript because what I was working on was kind of similar to there. So I went there and then I was checking out the features they had and things that I felt would help. And then for my mini project, I had a very good score. I had a very good score, not because the lecturer liked me, because that woman is very strict. She doesn't care if you are her friend or not. I had a very good score because I went to brag to her about my project. I told her that the school has even seen that it is a problem and they tried using KNUST transcript to do it, but KNUST transcript has this kind of limitations, and that's what I'm saying from the scratch. Let them know the relevance of whatever you are doing so that even if they don't check your code, because some people wouldn't, even if they don't check your code, they would know that you are doing something relevant. And there'll be bugs in your project. I remember like 3 minutes to my presentation, I don't know what happened. My code wasn't running. Like the front end was running, the server was down, and I honestly didn't know what was happening. But when you get cases like that, try to use your head. Instead of going to where the errors are for people to find them, you can just describe them and be moving forward. Most of the time, my talk helps me. I can brag about something and then I'll let you forget that you are not looking at it. So like try to use those things to your advantage. And yeah, you'll be fine. Don't go and kill yourself over it. It's a 2 credit art thing. It helps you learn. But then it's not the end of the world. And please don't drill mini projects. In all your doings, never drill mini projects. Because when you drill mini projects, that's like 3rd year, 2nd semester. You come to 4th year, 1st semester, you have final year projects ahead of you, and then you have a trail. Those are not the kind of trails that you can come and then write supplementary exam for. You'd have to do it again. So please, in all your doings, never trail mini projects. Yeah. Then is anything else?
Yeah, you talked about some of our supervisors that some of them are very strict, but then they really help in, the score and then the kind of project they are supposed to present. And even talking
Yeah.
about Dr. Linda, the way she's a web lecturer, but then she doesn't really want students to present web stuff. Like, how do you deal with difficult lecturers? Like, how do you deal with such lecturers? And the lecturers who are also very easy with students, how are they scoring with the mini project? Like, maybe like for Dr. Misa, for instance, he might not even check your project or something, but then how is his scoring like for a lecturer who's
Is
very easy on you?
Dr. Ajiman here?
No, he hasn't joined yet.
Okay, so I'm going to be frank with you, right? If you get someone like Dr. Rose, right? If you get someone like Dr. Rose, try to wow her, like on how you describe your project. She give you deadlines, and then if you follow the deadlines and you don't fall at her bad side, you can get an 80 on a 70, and I know what I'm talking about. If you get someone like Dr. Kids, right? She'll try to annoy you. Please, even if you are right, don't let her see your bad side. People like that, if you put effort into your work, it will pay off. If you get someone like Mr. Poundford, the lecturer who taught you survey, start praying for a miracle. Like, tell God that, God, I beg. Like, anytime you go on your knees, God, I beg. Because he I don't know what to say. Like, you not ask you what you are doing, you know. If you want to use Figma to design websites, you collect it. But the score you give you so if you get a lecture like this, don't if you're not doing the mini project for yourself, like for your own good, like for something for your CV, don't suffer. Because even after your struggles, the score you give here, unless like maybe when he sees your own, God touches his heart or something. If you get someone like Dr. Misa, he'll never ask you for anything. Oh, anything goes. For him, I've never figured out how he does his scoring, because I know someone who worked on a machine learning project. I'm saying I know someone because I knew most of the things my classmates were working on. I know someone who worked on a machine learning project, something that could pass for a final year project. This man gave him 55. I know someone who worked on Figma. I don't know if you guys know Figma. Like, you drag boxes and then color them and those stuff. I know someone who worked on Figma. This person had 70. Oh. So like I've never been able to figure out how he does his scoring. I know if they hear this, maybe they would sack me from the school. But it's actually true for some lecturers. Just pray that God give me favor. When you get someone like Gaddafi won't stress you. If your project is convincing, you actually get good marks for it. If you get someone like HOD, I know most of us here are scared of HOD, Prof. Aqua, but he's like the best person you can have as a supervisor because he has been here for long. He has seen it all. Like, what is new that he hasn't seen? So he'd actually give you good marks. He actually give you good marks when you work on like good projects. And what else? Who else? When you get someone like Dr. Someone would give you good marks.
And then Dr. Yusuf, and then the one who taught assembly language.
Hello, yeah. If you get someone like,
Hello, Grace.
I can't. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So
Can you guys hear me?
yeah,
Okay,
Aliko, you
so
can talk.
for Dr. Yusuf, I don't really know how he did his scoring, right?
Those are the questions
Because
I'll call you out.
I honestly I feel Dr. Yusuf gave scores. I'm saying that because after their programs on a drive, right? Then they come and submit it to his office. And according to him, there was this guy who was developing an antivirus as his mini project. According to him, that guy's antivirus program gave his laptop virus. So he told us he couldn't set our questions early. So I doubt he was able to run the rest because a project that is supposed to be an antivirus, you are claiming it has given your laptop virus. I doubt he looked at the rest. But he's not really bad when he's given marks. It wasn't really good marks, but it wasn't bad. Yeah, which lecturer haven't I spoken about? If you get someone like Dr. Ahene,
Yeah, Henny. And
Dr. Ahene I've spoken about Yusuf.
oh, okay.
Dr. Ahene, you see, most of his schooling was outside. So whatever big projects you have, it kind of looks small to him. He's one of those lecturers that he would always push you to go for more. And personally, I don't really think he gives very, very good marks, right? I'm not saying this to discourage you when you get him because he will push you to learn more. That one too, you should pray for favor.
Oh, okay.
Which lecture haven't I spoken about?
Dr. Say.
Dr. Say, okay, Dr. Say is cool. Like, he will listen to your proposal. He will actually check. And if your project is worth good marks, he'll give it to you. But if you misbehave too, he'll not consider you. I know someone who trailed with him, who trailed, and Dr. Ose was his supervisor. Although he's the cool type, if you are lazy, he'll not give you any marks. He'll not be like, oh, I don't want this guy to fail. He actually trail you. Which lecturer is left?
Yeah, sir.
I think that's all right.
Professor Asante.
Dr. Asante is actually cool. He's like the best. Seriously, I didn't get him, but he's like the best. You can go to him, talk to him about your project, tell him, oh, I'm facing these challenges. And he gives good marks. My friend worked on VB. You guys know VB, right?
Yeah.
VB.
Yeah.
VB that I don't know if industry still use VB. It wasn't any big project. She had 68. Dr. Asante is very, very cool. If you get him, just put in a little effort. He will actually reward you when you put in effort.
Okay. Grace, let me ask
I
my last question, and then I'll allow the others who have questions to also ask you.
Sure.
Yeah, some of the lecturers are pairing the students, and then some of them too are
Yes.
allowing the students to do it individually. Like for instance, with Dr. Piazza, the students are being paired with with Professor Hayfron, and then
I
they are
didn't talk
doing it
about.
individually.
Sorry, I didn't talk about Dr. Piazza, right?
Yeah, you didn't.
If you get Dr. Piazza, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you have bushy hair, don't go to his office. Your bushy hair alone, seriously, your bushy hair alone can let him give you any marks at all.
Wonder.
This one. I'm talking based on what I've seen. I heard you guys like when during your database class, you were using this um system that he was using to check attendance.
Yeah.
Uh, that application that you guys were using was somebody's mini project.
Wow.
That
Wow.
distance, and he gave the person 50 for that
Hey.
project. Yes, like he gave the person. I know he added a little stuff, but the idea and like 80% was from this guy in my class, and he gave the person 50. You at least don't use it. He gave the person 50 because the guy was annoying. He had bushy hair. You talk, you not listen. So you see, he's this kind of reverend guy. He doesn't like those piercing and things. For like just your sanity, right? If you are going there, just put those things somewhere, and then when you leave, you can do whatever you want. Because I feel those things actually affect marks he gives people. But then there are people too who had good marks. Those people who did themselves respectful, good girl, good boy, and their projects too were good. They had good marks. But I don't really think it's just about your project being good. He looks at those other things too. Yeah, sorry, Dennis, for interrupting your question. I think you can go ahead.
Oh yeah,
You were saying something.
I was at the fact that some lecturers are pairing the students, and others too are allowing the students to do it individually. And we know that from now we are on vacation and we have 2 weeks for school to reopen. So like if you are doing it maybe as an individual or as a group, how should the timelines be so that you can finish your project on time, or like to finish the best way to actually finish the project if you are timing yourself that if I have 2 weeks for vacation, and then when school reopens to I have some additional time, how should we actually like time ourselves to actually finish and then get time for the other courses as well?
Okay, for me, right, it's very hard. It would be very hard to start working on your mini projects using these 2 weeks. Why? One, you don't know your supervisor yet. Two, there's a very high chance that whatever project you pick can be rejected. So when you start working on it, unless maybe you're doing it for yourself, when you start working on it and it gets rejected, it will be like you've wasted time. So these 2 weeks, I'll just say use it to learn, like for yourself. Don't work on anything yet. And then with the pairing too, it's just a few lectures that actually pair. 90% of you guys would work alone. It's just a few lecturers that pair. And then when you get it, this was what I was doing. My mini project was huge. Like I had to learn a whole lot of things I didn't know. And I felt if I'm going to give in all my time, right, it's going to affect my grades. And it was just a 2 credit hour course. Like you guys shouldn't forget that it's a 2 credit hour course. So I go for class and then I try to understand whatever is taught in class. Me for second year, I'm someone who studies like second year after class I'll learn. But when I got that mini project, I was learning alright, but I tried as much as possible to get most of the stuff that were taught in class. So when I go back, I don't have to go and then sit down and learn it again. So it was like, that was what I was doing. So when it's like 2 to 3 weeks before the exam, because I understood it in class, it wouldn't look new to me. Then I'll now learn it for exam. So I was using my evenings. To work on my project, because that one too, it's not like I was good at what I wanted to do. I had to learn so much. So I go for class, then I come, and then I do it. But I'm not able to use the same approach in my final year. My classmates will tell you I've been missing class for final year. I wouldn't advise you do that for mini projects, because it's just a 2 credits hour course. Don't miss class because of projects. Because when you do that, some lecturer will not even look at it, and then you would end up like spending a lot of time where it's not supposed to be spent. Me, I was using my evenings because I wanted to get better at back end. That was what I was doing. It wasn't just because of the project. So you can also use an approach like that, but like in whatever you do, don't let it be at the demerit of the other courses. Like, because next semester is when you are going to do accounting too, and I think accounting has bigger credit hours than mini projects. And then you are going to do some other courses that are going to be demanding. So you can choose to work on it. I think 3rd year we didn't have a class on Fridays. I was also using those Fridays. You can choose to shift it to days that you don't have classes. But whatever it is, don't let it affect your school time. I also know people that went to take Kaggle projects. Some people were working on machine learning. And you see, it's not all the lecturers that are into AI and machine learning. So they took Kaggle projects, like projects that people have already worked on. Some people took people's projects on GitHub. I will not say don't do that. You can do that if you want, but don't let them catch you. Try to understand whatever you've gone to steal. I wouldn't even call it stealing, because code is not copyrighted. So yeah, even if you do that, try to understand it and then make it your own. If you want, go and steal projects. Me, I'm a student. I'll not call it a bad thing, but like understand what it is and then try to make it your own.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. It makes sense.
Please, even if you are taking some, don't go and stand somewhere and say Aliko says go and steal projects. So I said if you do, if you do, but don't let them catch you, and then make it your own.
Yeah, sure.
Like make it your own. Yeah.
I think I'll allow those with their hands raised to also ask that question. I think people have questions for you. And Cephas and Dangana, you guys can ask your question. Cephas, you can go ahead, ask your question.
All right. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So, Aliko, I want to ask about the outcome of AI project. You know, people create websites and other stuff that are not really something tangible. Let me put that like in quotes. You know, like website like this, you can't really feel it. But what are the outcomes?
The boy just called my mini project tangible. Yeah, I get you.
No.
Oh, I get you.
So I'm saying that how about like a project that is, let's say, IoT based, like something you can feel, like let's say in the field of robotics or something. My supervisor is Dr. Osei.
Okay.
I knew, yes, he is very cool. I've met him only once. He's always busy, and I
you know your supervisor.
Even calculators if you collect.
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
But from what you are saying, is it?
Oh no, I'm listening.
Cephas, can you
okay, so I'm saying that. So yes, I'm saying that. So what are the outcomes of like AI projects? Like, do they like attain like big marks or something? If marks.
Oh, AI projects actually sound interesting to lecturers, right? But you should know if you are working under someone like Dr. Rose, right? Dr. Ajiman, who has like a background in AI, right? You can't just go there and fool them with any project at all. You would have to let them know that you know what you are doing. But those old lecturers don't really have a lot of background in AI. AI projects actually fetch marks. Of all the projects, it's IoT projects that fetch the highest marks. But IoT projects, you should be ready to spend, because you need things like Arduino kits and other stuff. You need sensors and all. So if you feel you are a DB, right, and that one too doesn't really involve too much code, So if you know what you're about, like IoT is actually the best because whatever supervisor you are under, if you're able to connect wires together and those wires are able to lift something, they get so impressed, even if it's not really solving anything. Some people do electronic dustbins and those things, but because like the person has combined wires together, circuit boards, and then it looks so wowing, right? Those are like the kind of projects that fetch the biggest ones, but you should be prepared to spend. So I got to realize that those who were working in groups did that because they were a lot, so they were able to contribute. But for someone who doesn't have money and then decides to work on IoT, you'd suffer. And then if you want to also work on AI too, first be sure that you get data sets before you start the project, because when you go and then you sell them your idea and then they accept it and later you're not getting data sets to train whatever model you're training, it would be a disadvantage. Yeah, I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yeah, yeah. But
Okay.
I think
Okay.
it's
I think Dugan, you can ask your question. You can go ahead.
Hello, Grace. So I was saying that since you're an experienced student and then you know how to go about the project work, I'm asking if you could personally help me in my project work, guidance
Sorry, I didn't hear your
and
question.
yeah. Yeah, so I was saying that since you're an experienced student and you know the whereabouts of the project, I was asking if you could personally help me with guidance and motivation with my project.
I don't know if
You,
Dennis, I didn't hear what you said. Can you paraphrase
this
it
boy
for me?
is very funny. Aliko, he's asking you to supervise to help him with his project.
He's asking if I can help him with his project.
Yes.
Oh, you can text if it's about saying like coaching you or something. I can definitely do that, but I can't look in your code to look for errors. Somebody will come to you and be like, "My code
Sure.
is not running." Like, what do you want me to do? But like, if you want advice on what to do, my doors are always open. I'm this person that you can
Sure.
just
Thank you very
approach
much.
and
Thank
then
you
talk
very
to.
much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Please, do you have anybody else with a question for Grace? If you don't want to talk, you can actually leave it in the chat box down there, so I can read it out.
Dennis, sorry, there's this thing I didn't touch on. I think Redolf would be made to talk, right?
Yeah.
He's one of the people that I was really going to. So sometimes too, instead of sitting down to think about a project from scratch, you can ask continuing students what they did. It's not by force that you have to bring a project that has never been done. And even if you're in the same class and someone is working on the same project, you could be working on it too under different supervisors. And then you can try to make yours different. So it's not like because this person is working on this, you can't really work.
Oh, wonderful. That I think that's a great point. That's a wonderful one to give.
They were just in the title. And it worked because they had different supervisors. So you can also ask continuing students what they did. Some people would be so kind to give you their code. You can use it.
Sure.
Like you can use it. Yes, you can use it. The thing is don't let them catch you.
Yeah.
But you can use things like that. And let's say you come up with a project and you go to hear that someone in your class is working on the same project. Don't worry at all. You're going to write different codes. Your interfaces would be different, so that shouldn't also be a problem.
Yeah. I think a great point to keep, we or if you are listening, is that since we are all working under different supervisors, then we can actually go to our senior course mates and get the projects that they worked on during their time, and then add a few things and then try out with our supervisors and see if it works out. I think it's a great point to give. Yeah, it's a very great point.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grace, thank you very much for the opportunity to, join us and share with us your thoughts on the mini project. I think I'm going to
Oh,
allow
I'm
Redolf to also share some thoughts on the mini project, and then we'll get back to you with some more questions. Okay. So, Redolf Asomaning, if you are with us, you can go ahead and share with us what do you think a group project is, how to deal with our supervisors, and everything on that overview. Riddle.
Dennis. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, Riddle.
Hello. All right. Sure. It's like Aliko has even said it all, touching right from point one to point six. But well, the first point is what is a good project? Well, a good project is a project that you have command on it. Like you know your tools to use, you know where to, you know the tools to use, you know how to code, then you know how to convince your lecturers, you know that okay, these people they've worked on this similar projects, but then when they were doing their projects, they didn't start to decided to do them. That's what I think. And some people too, when you're applying your projects, try as much as possible to narrow your scope. So like Aliko was saying, let's say Dr. Rosemary, the one who is
Riddle.
AI, then
I
the
don't
one
think it's.
going
I
to
don't know
be
whether it's from my side, but I can
yes.
hardly hear you.
You can hardly hear. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
It could be on my microphone. Okay, okay. So now Aliko was saying something about these lecturers. You see, when you go to them, when you pick your project topic, Dr. Kate or Rosemary or Dr. Hajima, you see, they are into AI. When you go to them with your AI topics and other stuff, you see, AI is broad. When you go, when you pick your topic, try to narrow your topic. Oh, I want to work on AI. Fine. Machine learning is broad. AI is broad. Okay, AI. Which aspect of AI do you want to work on? Oh, I want to work on NLP. I want to work on deep learning model. I want to work on traditional machine learning model. But then when you now go deep into these fields that you chose, now let's say you pick NLP. They have different aspects of what NLP. They have the translators, they have the generators and other stuff. So try as much as possible to narrow your topic so that at the end of the day, you won't go and present something that you can't finish. Think yeah, that's what a good project is, and it's make sure that it's within your time domain to finish the work. After all, it's mini project is like 2 credit hours, so don't go and pick something, don't go and kill yourself. You pick a project that you can't finish, and these lecturers they don't give a damn to whatever you are working on. Yeah, at the end of the day they will just give you any marks, but then when you pick on when you try to work on a project that is kind of relevant as a for your CV, like when you when you present it to a company, oh, okay, this guy he did something like this, he did something like this. I think it's
Is it my
and
network?
maybe train him from scratch, add up to whatever he has learned or something like that. At the peak, you looking for job, you won't stress yourself that much as compared to maybe someone, as Aliko said, someone who worked on you work on a full code business, someone will just work on just UI. Then maybe the person who worked on UI had Misa. Then Misa can give the person 80, but then you actually did a full code based front and back, and then you will get something like 60. That one, it happens. It happens. Even with me, my final year project like this, it happened. But then it's all good. It do help your CV. It tells the recruiters out there that okay, you can do this, this is what you know and other stuff. So at times, yeah, the marks is necessary, but then you can it's when you do something good, it's for your own good. Your CV would look nice and other stuff. Yeah. I think that's cool. Dennis, go on with your next question.
Yeah. How did you do with your supervisors?
Hello,
Yeah. How did you do with your supervisors?
Dennis.
Yeah. Can you?
Uh,
How did you do with your supervisors? Can you hear me? I'm trying to.
Dennis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hello.
we're muting now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go on
Yeah.
with your next question,
I was
rather.
like, how do you do with your supervisors? I mean, we are all having different supervisors with different attitudes, and the students also have their different,
Uh-huh.
attitudes. And how do we deal with them? Some of them are expecting some projects from you. You are also working on something you think might be a good project? Like, how do you deal with those kind of stuff?
Well, first of all, maybe when you get a supervisor, know the domain that the let's say whatever his research is geared towards. Then, if you are good with that field, maybe you pick a topic from that field. If you are not good with that field, at least you can try and convince him that okay, with this I'm not good, but then with this I can do this. But then try to let your topic look interesting. That's it. Just let it look interesting. They would just accept. Then yeah, that's it. Let me
Yeah, can you share
just
with
make
us
it look
maybe?
interesting.
Yeah,
Then uh
yeah. Can you share with us
talk.
maybe a project idea that you presented that was rejected, that you felt that that project was really meaningful, like something you presented and you felt that, oh, this project, if you had accepted it, I mean, it will really work out for me.
Okay. Well, with me personally, I've not presented any project idea that has been rejected before.
Wow.
For with my mini project, yeah, with my mini project, I get the supervisor I had. We went to his office. He was like he's leaving, so he gave us a time to call. So that time, you just called and tell him your topic. I called him. I told him that I presented a topic to him. He was like, okay, good idea. Go and do it then. Bring it. Then for my topic. Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about the
Hello.
score? Can we talk about the score? Like, if after you submitted the project that he didn't reject, how was the score for you? Like, for your mini project?
Okay. Well, with the mini project, I had Dr. Eric Osei. So we all represented our topics. I think I was the first person to call, so he just accepted it. When he heard the topic, I developed the batch processing system. So I just presented the topic. He was like, okay, go and work on it. Yeah, I worked at the end of the day, even though I didn't finish. Yeah, I didn't finish with it because of the frameworks I was using, integrating them. Like some of the libraries weren't that compatible and some too had vulnerabilities. So at the end of the day, I had to do some aspects. So with the batch processing system, it was actually meant for processing like database. But then I did the CSV part, but then with the SML part, the libraries for doing the SML, there were some vulnerabilities in there, so I decided not to do that part. But then at the
What
end
was
of
the
the day, I
score
think I
again?
had an A.
You had an A.
The score it was either 71 or 72, one of them.
Wow. You know,
Yes,
Godfrey,
yeah,
one
it
thing
was
that
either
we
71 or
all want to
72.
learn is that, you see, you guys have already gone through this whole mini project thing, and then we wanted to know, are there some available resources online that, I mean, a website, a YouTube channel, like a place that we can go that we can find some very, very solid sample mini projects that we can actually try to work on, I mean, to help ourselves make the whole process easier for us?
Well, with that, for resources, yeah, you've got huge chunks of resources at your disposal. It depends on the project you are working on. When you go to YouTube, ask for help, you just search for the video you get. So it actually depends on the project what you are working on. So it's like, okay, I've picked a project. Let's say I've picked a project topic with, let's say, image processing. Okay, let's say image processing for object identification. So let's say when I show the mouse to the camera, it should be able to tell me that okay, this is a mouse. If I point the phone, okay, this is a phone. You see, we've got different ways of doing this. Some people will use normal traditional what machine learning to do. You just get the images, you train the model. Some people too would use what deep learning. You just get the images, you train the images and other stuff. Some people too can use what OpenCV has got what built in what object recognition stuff. So now, okay, I want to work on what object detection. Okay, I've got, let's say, the traditional machine learning aspect side of it. I've got the deep learning aspect of it. Okay, I've got the normal OpenCV processing aspect of it. Which one should I go in for? Okay, let me go in for the what let me go in for, let's say, the open CV aspect of it. Fine. If I want to go in for the deep learning aspect of it, I need to get images of all the objects, and at my disposal, looking at my time, I can't get images to train the model and other stuff. Okay, but I'm going in for the open CV. You go in for the open CV aspect of it. You search online. Okay, was I want to do this project. Okay, what are the tools? Okay, fine. Python, normally when it comes to image processing and other stuff, Python is the go-to language, even though you can use C++, but then maybe setting up the environment and other stuff might be hectic. Okay, I use Python. Okay, Python, is it having libraries for doing this? Okay, fine. Python is having NumPy for scientific computing. It's having Pillow for image processing. It's having OpenCV for image processing. So you, okay, I've got this. Let me read about them. You ask GPT, you read about them. GPT would tell you what they are used for. You can go to YouTube. Okay, has anyone done image processing with what? OpenCV before? Yeah, for sure. I've seen plenty. So okay, now what did he do? How did he go about it? So you look at what the person is doing, and yeah, definitely there will be some flaws and other stuff. So okay, I'm doing this, but then this is what the person didn't do and other stuff. So let me include it in my,
Yeah, I mean,
for the
Miss
resources
Aliko,
there. You've got huge chunks of resources.
Aliko give us,
Hello?
yeah, Redolf. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Aliko give us some tips on how to present our project proposals. Like sometimes it could even be the title that even when you are writing your titles, you should make it in a
Mm-hmm.
certain way so that some lecturers
Mm-hmm.
naturally do not want to accept certain types of project, like maybe a management system or maybe an app or maybe it could be a
Yes.
website, yeah.
I
And
agree.
how to present your proposals, your project proposals. So what are some things that you
Okay.
can also share on it? Is it just about the titles? Is it about even how do you even write the proposal? Do you use ChatGPT or do you just write something on a paper and you submit? Like how do you write the proposal in the first place and how should you present it?
Okay. Really, let me touch on the proposal. With the proposal, every lecturer has got his or her own way of what
Oh, join
writing
us and
his
join us and
proposal, his or her proposal. But then normally when it comes to project proposal,
I've sent you the link on WhatsApp.
it's basically, let's
We
say,
are talking
what the
about
project is about,
projects, like
kind
a
of
mini project. How do you go
introduction,
about it?
what you introduction of the project, the problem you are trying to solve. You just introduce the person
Yeah.
to the project, the
Rodolph is
problem
talking
you
right now.
want to solve. Then maybe whether you have seen existing systems, then maybe the flaws within those existing systems. That's your project you are bringing on board is trying to what solve. So it's not always like you want to start from scratch. Sometimes it's just a project someone built that what you want to
Okay, using
build
your
upon.
flaws as
Maybe
well
you've
to
seen
avoid.
some flaws in there and other stuff. So I want to
Perfect.
improve what upon this project. And you just start that, yeah, they themselves they are aware that projects is not all it's not necessarily that you always would start from what scratch. Sometimes it could be a problem that is there that you are trying to solve, build upon it, or add some other features, maybe yes, something like that. Then with the topic presentation, okay, let's say you want to build what's management system, right? You can't just go and okay, building inventory management system is just a normal topic. They won't. The fact that there is management in there, right, will just piss them off. They would reject it. But then instead of saying building what a management system, you can be like, okay, building a distributed what management system, building a distributed what student management system, distributed what um inventory what management system. You see that word distributed, it entails a lot and other stuff. So you do it that okay. This is not a normal, let's say, a 2 tier or 3 tier what application that the person is trying to build. Okay, it's what it's kind of what distributed, meaning all the services that you'll be building wouldn't be on what one machine. And let's say when you talk of the distributed, okay, fine, the distributed inventory system that I want to build. Okay, they have patterns out there that you want to use. Fine. You can separate what you can build two applications in a sense that okay, fine, it's distributed. Now I have two separate what inventory management systems. Your first inventory management system should be a system that would what contain commands. When I talk of commands, your what your delete, update, and what create. Normally, you see these databases that Dr. Piazza taught you people. You see, we have these DDL commands and other stuff. So when you insert data, you actually what give a command to the database engine that okay, create the store what this data for me. When you what fire an update query, you want to update the existing object in the database. You see, without you are manipulating what the data within what the database. Then we have the what read as you have your read aspect of your what your inventory system. The read aspect is what your what you reading something from the database. See, it's what is a normal what inventory system, but then now what is what in a distributed what fashion. You have two services instead of what one service containing your what queries. When we talk of queries, what you use to get data from what the database, those are your queries. So now you
You
have
are
your
getting very technical here. You are getting very technical.
Well, okay. Just trying to explain some stuff to them.
Uh,
So now, instead of you just putting normal inventory system, you can just put maybe distributed fashion. Maybe you people can read on what the distributed aspect of what I'm saying. So don't just go and present any file topic. Just make it look nice. Go and present it. They would accept. If he's not willing to accept, maybe he or she would give you a topic. Then the topic he or she would give you. If you feel like you are not comfortable with it, we are human beings. You can approach them, tell them that what this. You are not good because some topics the lecturers would give you actually requires you to go and learn something new, then come and use it for the work. And it's what it's just 2 months work. You can't the 2 months work. It's not like you are doing the project alone. You have your academic activities to do too. So you can just talk to the lecturer. This. Me like this on my final presentation. When I went in, I was the last person. When they asked for my supervisor, I told them the supervisor and this all the people in there, they were like the person will end up giving me a low marks. The person won't even check. And it was actually true. And they were later on, they were like, I could have spoke with HOD for him to maybe change my supervisor or something like that. And I didn't know that. I think Aliko tied on that. Aliko did such recently or something like that. Yeah, she managed to change the
rid of,
trend.
rid of,
So just
rid of. Like,
yes,
not to cut you.
yes.
You were just talking about
Mm-hmm.
if I can put it right, some regrets, right? Like you could have done something,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I want you to like talk more on that.
Yes.
I want to talk more on that. Like after going through the whole project, something. What are some things you feel like you could have done better, or like you feel like if you had done those stuff, it would have helped you get a higher score in your mini project or something? Like what are some things you felt you could have changed during the
Okay.
whole period?
Okay, not within the project per se, like this whole supervisor thing. If
Yeah.
I knew that earlier, then I'll be like, okay, I want someone like they say Castro who is more into software engineering. They will check the work and other stuff, or Dr. What Asante or Dr. Ray. You see, they'll get time and check the work. Not like the supervisor that I had. So if I had the opportunity to change my supervisor, I would have gotten a high mark because the mark I had, that was not what I was targeting. And that's it.
Okay. So the whole point is that
Yeah.
we could find a way to kind of change our supervisors.
Yeah. So let's say you Dennis, you had
Dr.
Dr.
Pias.
Linda, see Dr.
Piazza.
Rosemary. Let's say you had Rosemary. Okay. You had what Piazza.
Yeah.
Then you want to work on something on let's say machine learning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you see Dr. Piazza is not that into machine learning. So maybe you can go and talk to the HOD or the lecturer that, okay, I want to do this, and you're not really into machine learning. But then you see, this lecturer is into machine learning. So I was wondering if you could what lay me to that lecturer so that at least the lecturer can what help me do the work and other stuff.
Wow. I think that's a
That's it.
very
Because at the end of
it's
the day,
reasonable. I think the
you
point you are
see,
raising
you
is
see, at the end of the day, when you do the work, see, at the end of the day, when you do the work, you see, Dr. Piazza is not into machine learning. So whatever you be explaining, like, it's like a funny thing. he doesn't really care that much. You see, he's into cybersecurity, forensics, then what databases. So he's into this lecturer is into machine learning. Fine. Let me go and talk to this lecturer. Maybe yeah, we are human beings, he would understand, and let me do the work with him. So that at the end of the day, if I need any help, that person would what help me and other staffs. And that's one of the stuff that's affecting most of the what students. We already didn't know. We could have done similar things to improve on our marks and other stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a
Yeah,
very
your
good
next
idea.
question.
I think for some of us who are working on projects that the lecturer that we are being supervised by is not really into, like for instance, as you were talking about the Tapiasa being into database, and if for instance I'm presenting an AI project, then probably if I don't like the idea of the Tapiasa being my supervisor, then I can just go to the HOD and let him know that since the Tapiasa is not someone who is into AI, then if I could get a supervisor who is into AI who could actually help me with my mini project, then that would be a better idea, right? Yeah, I think that's a very good point to raise. Yeah, I've actually written it down. So I can actually change my supervisor if I have a better reason of like a better reason why I want to change him. Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very very good point.
Yeah, and I think one Sylvester as Asu is asking a question, don't you think the lecturer would what feel offended? No, why would he feel offended? It's like this is what I'm doing. You are not into such. So at the end of the day, you won't see the intensity of the work I've done, and maybe you might end up with giving me 80 marks. You might end up with not checking. That's it. But let's say you are working, maybe Sylvester, you are working on a software project. Fine, with the software, Castro teaches software engineering, so he knows more of what software stuff. So when you go to him, he can actually explain some stuff to you so that you would understand. He can actually spend time with you to maybe do the work or maybe give you some resources that would what help you. Let's Sylvester, let's say you had Pamford. Pamford is into compilers and graph theories and other stuff. They wouldn't even get time to check the work for you. We just like do anything then present. At the end of the day, I would award you any marks. I won't check the work. That's it. So I think so. Sylvester, have I answered your question?
Yeah, and you know, Aliko was also talking about the fact that we shouldn't kill ourselves for this mini project, right? And so, we have other courses that
Yes.
we'll be doing alongside the mini project. Like we have about 8 other courses, and the mini project is just
Yes.
for 2 credit hours. So, like, how did you time your time?
Yes.
Like, how was the timelines for you for the project work and then also for class? Because we have other courses to also do. We have accounting too. Like, accounting really shaped us this semester, and we have accounting two next semester. So, like,
I know,
how
right?
are we really going to manage? Like, how should we go about our time management with the mini project and also the accounting and the other courses that we'll be doing next semester?
Okay. With the timing, it would really depend on you, the individual, and the project what you are working on. Me, I don't remember certain time for myself, but then all that I know is like, yeah, I did the work, I did something. So maybe you can be like, okay, let me dedicate, let's say, Saturdays and Sundays for the week because it's only you who will be working on the work. So you just say, okay, Saturday 5 hours, Sunday 5 hours. So you just set a target. So maybe if I'm building AI model, so maybe this first month, the Saturdays and the weekends within the first month. Okay, I'm using it to gather my what data and other stuff, search for my data and other stuff. Then maybe the following month, you just work on the actual model. Then maybe in the course of the third month, finalizing the semester, you'll be what documenting everything. Then you'll be preparing for what your submission. So it really depends on the seriousness of you, the individual, working on what the project and what you want to achieve. And if you feel like, okay, I want to do everything in the first month, then relax for the rest of the 2 months. Fine. It really depends on you.
Okay, can you
And
talk
that's
more
it.
about the documentation? You talked about the fact that we need to document everything that we are doing. Can you talk more on it?
Well, with the documentation, it really depends on the lecturer. What the lecturer would want to take as documentation. Me, my mini projects, the person took my supervisor took a report. We wrote a report. He gave us a sample report. So we presented it in that format. Then we submitted it along with the GitHub repository to him. Then I think the final work was a Zoom presentation. So you just come, you present, you prepare the slides, you present your work. If your colleagues they have questions to ask, they ask you. If they have any improvement, they can tell you to improve upon it. But then normally with the documentation, they have chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. If the person requests for documentation, so your documentation, the chapter 1 would be about the project, the introduction to the project and other stuff. Then the chapter 2 would be the literature review. If you've seen any existing, maybe whatever you are working on, there is already existing system that you want to work on. So the systems you've studied, the flaws in the system, then what your system is trying to achieve and other stuff. Then the chapter 3 would be your methodology, whatever methodology you use to do your projects. That's where you write your diagrams and everything.
Oh, okay. Let,
Then
let me
I
ask
think
another one. You see, I think Sylvester has also said that his supervisor is Dr. Misa, and we are all aware of how Dr. Misa is. Like, if he's your supervisor, he's very relaxed and everything. Like during your time, how was it with you and your mate with regards to Dr. Misa being a supervisor? Was it the same thing? Like he's relaxed, but then when you present a project idea, he will accept it and then give you a very low score. Like how was it with Dr. Misa and maybe the other lecturers as well during your time?
well with Dr. Misa, never from I've forgotten those who had this. But then he was quite okay. See, one thing is the fact that the lecturer is relaxed doesn't mean that you should just go and present any shabby thing to
Sure,
them.
we can
And
make you out.
after all, yeah, I
Your
said
sound.
the fact that the lecturer is relaxed doesn't mean that you should just present any shabby work to the lecturer. That's it. Some people would actually give you the gap, the space for you to have your free time. Then at the end of the day, they would what mafia you, something like that. So we just make sure you present something good, something you can put on your CV, something you can boast. You can boast about it when you are applying for work or maybe your NSS and other stuff. So you can
Yeah.
personally tell people that you are the one who did the work and other stuff.
Yeah, well, like in your own definition, for the fact that you've done mini projects, you've also been able to do your main project. How do you define something that is good? Like when you say a good project to you, what is a good project to you? Like, oh, this is a very good project that
It's
you
a
can
prayer
maybe
that's
like a project that can score
good,
a higher marks with
whether
the lecturers.
okay, with that one, it really depends on the lecturer and whatever you are. But you see, normally they don't really have time to check, so they can easily give you any marks. That's it. They can just give it. Me, for instance, when my final year project, it was something solid. There's something solid. I took a whole year. I started way back in 2022. Then I bit of finalized everything in 2023 when we were about graduating. But then you see, my supervisor was Pamford. You see, Pamford never had the time to meet us. He gave us that room, the flexibility and other stuff. You see, Piazza would be stressing his people, Castro would be kind of stressing his people and other stuff. Pamford gave us that room. But then the project work was solid. Yes. But then at the end of the day, I think I had 70 or 71. Yes,
Wow.
something like that. I gave, you see, he didn't really check the work. Even if I had gotten someone like Dr. Eric, Castro, those people, they understand the work. So I would have gotten some high. And you see, there was something I was working on for mini projects, and I didn't do it again. So I reserved it for final year project, but then final year project, I kind of later on changed it. So I gave that work out to a friend for my friend to present as final year project. And to my surprise, and yeah, I think the guy had like 85. So it's like the lecturer preferences. I've forgotten the lecturer he had though. It was kind of what embedded system and others and this and IoT stuff. The guy ended up getting 85. So that's it. So it really depends on the lecturer and whatever what you are working on there. And the problem you are trying to solve. You see, if you take College of Science, for instance, you've got a whole lot of what problems that what you can use your project to solve. Not necessarily going to production grade or something like that. So they'll be like, okay, this is the problem you've seen and you are trying to solve. See, it's a nice idea and other stuff. You just build whatever you want to build, then you get your marks, then go your way. And that one cry, yeah, your CV too would look nice. Me, my final year project was on my CV. When I sent it to them, I was like, I can't believe you really did this and other stuff. Yeah, yeah, my head was bigger than.
Wow.
Yeah, that is you can
Yeah.
go
So
on with the next question.
my last question for you, and then I think I'll allow anybody else with the question to also ask you. You see, this whole mini project something for me, I think is going to be very stressful. So, like with your experience and what you've been through already, what do you think are some things that we can do? I mean, Aliko talked about the fact that we can actually go to some of our senior course mates and then take some of their projects, maneuver it some way, and add a little things to it and probably try and submit it. Or we can even go to GitHub, get some clones over there, get some codes over there, clone them. I mean, some amazing projects on GitHub, clone them and also present. And there are also some projects that are also available on certain websites that we can actually get for free. So like knowing all these things, and for the fact that you have actually done a mini project before, what do you think are some things that we can actually do? Could it be about going to a senior course mate for a project that he or she presented? Like, what are some things you think can actually reduce the stress level for this whole mini project? Something.
Okay, well, from my perspective, see, it's not about. At times, it's not about you going to. You see, with GitHub, you can get a whole lot of projects from there and other sources. But then, I have you asked yourself that the project I'm going in for, the project I'm cloning, do I have command over that language? Okay, let's say let's say let me use machine learning for example. Fine, machine learning Python. Do I have command over Python? No. Do I know these machine learning libraries? No. But then the fact that your supervisor accepted that you can present a machine learning project, no, doesn't really mean that you should go and clone the project what them bring. At times, those are the flaws. You see, with that many projects, I ended up, you see, most of the guys who had Dr. Ajman, most of the guys who had Dr. Ajman, I ended up configuring their machine learning project for them. Yes, that was the funny aspect of it. There was a friend of mine, the project he worked on, I literally did all. There was another girl, she had codes, machine learning codes from somewhere. She knew nothing about TensorFlow, this machine learning stuff. So she asked for help. Then I helped most of them to what get the codes they cloned from GitHub what up and what's running. So before you clone a project from somewhere, make sure you have command over the code you are cloning. Like you know in and out of what the frameworks. Let's say you cloned a Python project. Fine. I have a couple of projects on in my repo. I have face recognition and other stuff. So fine. Okay, you want to work on face recognition stuff. Fine. You you say it. You have the link. You clone it onto your machine. Fine. You know nothing about Python. Yeah, that's what that would be a problem for you. Go and learn Python, you will come back fine. Even setting up the project alone would be what's your problem. You can take months by the time you set up the project. Now what time go? So before you just clone any project from what GitHub, get project from any source, make sure that the project you are taking, you understand the basics words of that words language. That's what I can tell you. Just know something about the language. Just know your way what around the language. Recently there was a project I cloned from what GitHub, and it was this JS stuff. I'm familiar with npm for this their packages, but then the guy was using and other stuff. So I had to, because it's kind of similar. I had to run similar commands and other stuff to get it what's up and running. And there was one time I was helping someone do something. He had internship from somewhere, and the work they gave him, he was supposed to use Docker, and the Docker he was supposed to use, the commands from the README. When I checked the commands, the guy was working on Ubuntu. So I had to install Ubuntu on the guy's machine, set up the project from scratch, read some stuff because I know my way around Ubuntu, Docker, and those stuff. So I was able to set up the project, assuming it was to be you. You've not used Docker before, the commands, you've not seen the command before. How are you going to go about that project? So my advice is before you clone a project, know your way around the project a bit. Know the tech stack around the project a bit so that you can move at a good pace. At least you wouldn't be asking questions that much from whosoever you would want to help you and understand. That's my
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. That if you are going to take any project or you're going to clone anything from GitHub or anywhere you're going to get your project from, you should ensure that you actually know the basics of whatever frameworks or languages that you'll be using. Yeah, I think it's a very solid point, and I've actually written that one also down. I think Cephas, your hand is raised. If anybody else has a question, you can either raise your hand or leave the question down in the chat box. I'll read it out. Or you can raise your hand as well. So Cephas, you can ask your question.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, sir. All right. So I wanted to ask. So if your project is in, let's say, versions, can you do the first version for mini project and let's say the main second version for end of sem? I say end of sem, final year project. Sorry. Then
Oh
my
yeah. Oh yes.
second.
Let me answer your first question.
Okay.
Some lecturers do accept that, especially if the project is quite huge. Me, the supervisor I had, Dr. Eric, he was like, okay,
That's my
it's not
supervisor as
by
well.
force that we, for mini pro, he was like, it's not by force we finish everything for the final year, for mini projects. We can actually build on that for what final year project. And we were like, okay, I think one of my friends, Isaac, whatever he worked on during the mini projects, he actually built upon it for what final year projects. That's about it. Just that he had a different supervisor. He had Dr. Asante. So he built upon whatever he started to get another stuff. So some lecturers do accept that. Maybe looking at the intensity of the work, how you would convince the lecturer. That's it. Okay, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. But then looking at the time frame, I can do this. Then the rest of it, I would continue. I would just continue it with what my final year project. That's it. You can.
Okay. Then thank you so much. Then the second question. So Dr. Ose was your supervisor, right? And that same man is my supervisor.
Yes.
So does he really check the database? Last year I was in FF17 when Dr. Kate was checking the people's project, and he was like, "Where's your database?" Once they don't have, you're supposed to go and work on the database. I don't know if Dr. Ose really worries about database because my project will really need a database for anything, even though I can incorporate that, but it doesn't really need a database for anything. So what do you advise, like, since you've worked with him?
Okay. You see, this is some people would actually ask for databases and other stuff, but then deep down they wouldn't have any idea about it. They know that this database, but then they intend that they wouldn't know. Maybe sometimes they just want to see your schemas and other stuff. Okay, this is how I'm storing the data. This is how I'm structuring the data. You just draw the entity relationship diagram for them. This. Then you just go your way. And one way to confuse them too is, you see, how you pick Dr. Piazza. Dr. Piazza is really into databases. These SQLite databases. See, he's into that. Okay, fine. My project. If I use SQLite, this SQL databases, okay, he would be on my neck. He can maybe get plenty flaws in my work. Then what? Punish me on that. Maybe he wouldn't give me high marks and other stuff. So instead of me going for this RDBMS, this relational databases, I can go in for the Q value store databases. I can go in for the column family databases. I can go in for the Docker documents family database. So you just use the you so you work it that way so that okay at the end of the day, okay, this is my database, this is this. They wouldn't really okay foreign keys and other stuff. You see, that's one thing to just do to just confuse them. That's it. And there are some projects you wouldn't even need database. That's it. So it really depends on the project. If it's machine learning, you don't really need database. For sure, if it's kind of application that you are building, you need a database. Then the database, you are supposed to draw your schemas and other stuff to present in your documentation. You should be there. It should be in there. It
Okay.
should be in there.
Okay.
That's
So
it.
so let me sorry for interrupting, but here is the case. If you include a database in your project, it will increase the cost of operation. Can you use that as a basis and like argue your way out why you're not including the database in the project?
I think you should always avoid excuses when it comes to any
Okay,
project.
well, yeah, but then database. You see, it's project work that you are might not be exactly doing. Fine. So you have other you can use your local database and other stuff to just do the work. But then when it comes to maybe with the point you are raising, when you want to put it in a different way, it's kind of let's say operational cost and other stuff, then how the data is being retrieved, how the data is stored on disks and other stuff. So maybe instead of just start telling you to use, let's say, MSS SQL to store your data. Okay, be like, okay, yes, I don't think my data is not kind of, I don't have any kind of relationships in there. So I don't really need to use MSS SQL or this RDBMS to store my database. I can just use maybe the document family kind of MongoDB to store my data, then just go my array. So it really depends on what your data model. That's another way you can just work it so that they don't force you to use something you don't really want to use.
Yeah, and
Yes.
even just to add up to what Redolf said, I think when it comes to these things, always try to avoid excuses. You want to always find an excuse not to do something. You always try to avoid those stuff. If there are things that you can use to help yourself, try and use them and avoid the excuses. I don't think, I mean, even generally in life, just try to avoid excuses. Do the thing that you need to do and just, go your way rather than always finding excuses for why you can't do something. I mean, that's how I think. So probably somebody might relate with it.
Okay. Wait. Let me add this. I'm sure some of the guys who had Dr. Hene would want to work on what this kind of doing this IoT stuff. So even if he's not your supervisor, he would want to work on IoT stuff. See, IoT stuff, they are cost effective. They really cost and other stuff. But then one thing I can tell you is easy. Now this IoT stuff, okay, I want to do IoT. I want to use Arduino board. I want to use this. I want to use this board. I want to use this board. My advice to you is, you see, those are development boards. But then someone sat down, made a board. You bought the board and you are building something out of the board. Maybe instead of you, okay, I want to build, let's say, water control system. Water control system. Fine, water control system. But then this time around, I don't want to use Arduino. I want to use my own customized board. A board that's I designed it from scratch. You see, that one too is a way to convince the person, okay, this person is doing this water control system, fine. The person is not using any pre-built development board, fine. Okay, the person is building his own board from scratch. Okay, with this one, we can make it production ready. And one thing about those boards too is you would get some components on the board that you wouldn't really need them. You wouldn't really need them in your project. So okay, I'm building my own customized board that you can actually add your name on it. You see, is even that one alone, you building your board. Okay, I was able to build my own development board to achieve whatever purpose I want you wanted to achieve, gives the lecturer some kind of impression. Okay, the guy is really going extra mile to do the work and other stuff. That's some piece of information for my those who would be working on what embedded systems are. Dennis,
Yeah. So
Dennis,
I think that
can I
yes,
share
yes.
my screen? I want to show them something.
All right, you can.
I want to just show them something.
You can. Yeah,
All
I
right,
think if
sure.
anybody also asks a question, you can raise your hand. I'll call you out, or you can use the chat box. You can send a message down there. I'll read it out. Redolf, you can use the screen.
Yes, I just want to show them something. Hope you did see my screen. So this was something I designed from scratch to be used for my mini project. But then at the end of everything, I was like, okay, I don't have money. It's cost effective, so I stopped. You see, this one was something I wanted to like kind of high voltage switching with circuits that I wanted to what build as what mini project. But then I realized that I don't want to use Arduino. So what new thing am I bringing on board? Okay, fine. Instead of what using the Arduino, let me just study how those boards are made, the components I need, and other stuff. Then what? Build my own custom board. With my custom board, I just need the components I want to what use on what on board. And if you check, this is a chip. I needed this chip. Yeah, it's on board. I needed this socket for my screen. It's on board. I needed this LEDs. It's on board. I needed this relay. What? It's on board. So now, okay, I managed to what build my own custom board, like a prototype of it. So now I cannot even ship it to what production. So that's one of the innovative ways you can bring on board when you are working on this IoT project, because most of the development boards out there, they do contains stuffs that you don't really what need them on the board. And sometimes too, those boards will end up being large and other stuff. So with this one, you can actually what customize your board, make it look cute and other styles, mount the component what you want on board to achieve whatever purpose you want to achieve. With this one, it was a mini project I was doing. I didn't do it. I did it. The codes, everything is there, just that I didn't build the actual hardware. I gave the idea out to someone with the schematic, the prototype, everything to a friend. He presented it as the final year project, and I think he had 85 for final year projects. He just did it, they presented it. He had what 85. So it's about what the new thing you are bringing on board. Some stuffs you are inculcating and other stuff. So with this one, developing a new board alone tells your supervisor a lot. That okay, this, and even if you want to pick this topic, fine. With your mini project, you can build a prototype, the schematics and everything. Then maybe your final year project, you proceed to do what the actual implementation. Yeah, that was the little thing I just wanted to um, give to my embedded systems, those who would like to work on IoT and other stuff. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think I
And
would
I
also
can
like to
share my.
adapt down. I think was it this week? I went to Dr. Piazza to see him about the whole mini project, and then mostly we are allowed to give out we are allowed to give out the projects that we had in mind. And the whole point was that anytime you see something that you want to kind of give out, he's going to ask you that what is unique about the project that you want to present? What is unique about the project? So if you are, let's say, presenting a hospital management system, we already have hospital management systems already in the system. So what is unique about the hospital management system that you want to build? So I think Aliko also talked about the fact that whatever it is that you want to present, it should be solving a problem and that it should be unique from the other stuff that are already in the system. Yeah. So I think that is something I'll add up to what Redolf also said. If you have any questions, kindly raise your hand. I think Aliko is still around. If you have a question for her, you can give it out to her. So let me just share my final thoughts, and if there is no questions, I mean, we could just end the whole session. So there some things that I learned that I would like to share is that don't kill yourself for the whole mini project. Don't kill yourself. I mean, accounting has already shaped us, so you don't want to kill yourself. And next semester we are doing accounting again, which is accounting too. So Charlie, don't kill yourself. Just find, as Aliko said, a very simple project that will help you and I mean reduce the whole stress with the whole mini project thing. And then again, the titles of your project that you should make sure that whatever title that you are given, it shouldn't be too simple. Make I mean add some kind of appetite to the name of the project, so that they won't know that, oh, this thing is too simple, and they'll give you some low marks. How you decorate the title of your project also matters, because we are aware that some of the lecturers, they won't allow you to present something like a management system. So if you change the name from management system to, like, something cool, they will accept it. So the titles of your project really matters. How you, decorate the title will allow the lecturer to be like, oh, this guy is trying to build something cool, and they will take it for you. And also, the thing is that it is not compulsory to finish the mini project. As Redolf said, you can start and not finish it, and then you may continue as your final project. So don't kill yourself with the fact that I have to start a mini project and also finish it. You can actually start and not finish, and then go and talk your way out to the lecturer, and then he'll give you some cool marks, and then probably take it up from there. And then as Redolf also said that there are codes on GitHub. There are some on websites, like Aliko said. You should be using ChatGPT as also a resource, and you can also go to some of your senior coursemates for their course and their project that they presented. But then the only thing is that you should know the underlying basics of whatever project that you are presenting. If it's a programming language, try and know the basics of that programming language. If it's a framework, try to know something about that framework before you actually submit the whole thing. Yeah. And then, avoid excuses. Some of our mates were trying to give excuses as to why they won't do certain things. That, oh, what if I give an excuse that I won't build this database, or I won't do that? Always try to avoid the excuses. Yeah, you find your way through it. And Alik also gave some internship and proficiency projects that she worked on. So guys, the project that you are supposed to be working on, it should be unique and it should be solving a problem. So what is something unique about whatever project idea that you have? Yeah. So yeah, that's it for the evening.
I think, yeah, I think want to see what the guy presented as the final year project. The idea, then the development board I shared earlier. This was the final outcome of what the guy did, and he had solid 85. Our science will be team. The project idea present you 85. Me, I'm 70. I'm a year. So yeah, this is just by the way. So at the end of it, this is what the guy did, what the guy presented. So yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. And I think the last point I would like to add is about the supervisors, that you can actually change your supervisor, but unless you have a very solid reason, like the one Redolf gave, that if you are working in an AI system and your lecturer or supervisor is actually like a database something, probably if the person can't help you with your project, then you can have a solid reason as to why you want to change your supervisor, and then talk your way out with the HOD. Yeah. So if anybody has a question or something, or a suggestion or anything to give out, you can say it before we end the whole webinar. Aliko, do you have some final words to give? Redolf, any final words? Anybody, any final words to give before we end it?
Oh, the final, they should take it cool. It's just a project. Yeah, they can do it. Yeah, that's it. It's just a project like the courses we've been doing. Just attach a bit of seriousness. That's it. A bit of seriousness and you are good to go.
Yeah, wow.
The seriousness you put inside your mini project, that same seriousness maybe would head you towards your final year project. That's it. And bear in mind, see, with this one, you are working alone. So as you are working alone, just be serious, work on the project so that at the end of the day, when you go in for your final year project, not that one you will be paid. Then you end up not getting a partner who is not serious. At least you can do the work alone. You can do something to represent something, then get your marks. But you not being serious with your mini project, then you not getting a serious partner during your final year project is going to be hell for you people. I witnessed such cases. They all the errands that was serious. Lady was my friend, so I had to give her one of my works I did to go and present. Yeah, if I hadn't been that, she would have failed or something like that. So just be serious and understand. So that your final year project you wouldn't find yourself wanting.
Yeah, I had wanted Aliko to share a few words, but looks like she left us. So guys, I mean, it's been very informative learning about some few stuff that we should prepare for going into for our mini project. I mean, yeah. So, guys, thank you so much for joining. It's been wonderful having you all. And I mean, if not anything, you've learned something today. And next semester, our mini project should go on well for all of us. So, guys, thank you. It's Dennis Anane Amematekpor, running for CSS president next semester. And then thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you too.
Yeah,
Big
thank you.
ups. You've done it all. Yeah, I really appreciate what you've done.
Yeah,
And
Thank you very
yeah.
much.
Rudolph too. Thanks a lot for the advice you've given to us. At least, if not anything, we have heard something that will actually help us do with our mini projects. God
Exactly.
bless you.
Yeah. Thank you to Stanley for the kind words.
Okay, you are always welcome.
All right, guys. So have a wonderful night and see you in class.
Oh.
Yeah, and again, thank you to Redolf too. It was nice having you.
Can we leave now?
Dennis,
Yeah, Redolf, I'm here.
you had Piazza.
Come again.
You had Dr. Piazza. You had Dr. Piazza.
Yeah, I had Dr. Piazza.
So have you gone to see him already, or
Yeah, but I have to work on my ideas.
you have to? You're presenting three solid topics, right?
Yes.
Okay. Are they mobile apps?
I presented.
Definitely web apps, mobile apps.
Yeah, I presented one on an AI project. I presented one on mobile application, and then there was a last one with this boot something. And the AI
Okay.
project, he was like, I should work on either integrating it with either IoT or a mobile application. So I'm still thinking on it.
Hey, IoT, you really have money.
Not that I have money, but I'm still thinking about it.
IoT, yes, you can. It takes money. The work I showed you. Think at the end, the estimate was 1,500.
Yeah, I know some of the
The
boys
guy,
are College of Engineering, so I was just thinking about if I'm to go into IoT, I'll just go there and borrow some of their items and present something. I know most of them have really worked on
uh,
very great projects. I can even borrow from them rather than developing everything
hey,
from scratch. Yeah, Charlie, you
oh
have to
yeah,
give me
yeah,
money.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And one funny thing is, you see, you can work on a project, and I'll come and take that same project and go and present
Present it,
to a
yes,
different lecturer.
to a different lecturer.
Yeah, then I'll end up getting a higher mark than you, crowd, that you did the work. It's happened.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
it happened.
That's what I was thinking. That
It's
I'll
just
go to the
about.
College of Engineering, get some project on IoT, and then come and present it. I don't want to stress myself, about.
They should just look smart. That's it.
Yeah, that's what I
Omo
was
looking
thinking.
smarter, man. Omo looking smarter, man. Because
Yeah,
maybe I think maybe one project, five people can present the same.
yeah, to different lecturers. Once they accept it, we can present it
Different
to
lectures.
different lecturers, and then we are good to go.
Yeah,
Because I won't stress myself.
yeah.
Oh, I won't stress myself. I'll just go and get some already existing projects that are really really working and they're amazing, and present them, and I'll be good to go.
Yes, go within 1 week. Now we know that. Yeah.
Eh. Charlie. Mhm. So let's chat on WhatsApp. I think or you guys want us to continue talking. I think we have other 14 people here. I mean, we can keep talking or we end the session.
Hey Dennis, then I'll
Yeah,
come for your own.
you come for my own. If we look sharp, if we look sharp,
Yeah, yeah,
Charlie. We all if we look sharp. Cause this thing, it shouldn't stress us. It shouldn't stress us.
yeah. I understand.
College of Engineering, they have very, very great projects that I'm even aware of. So if you go there, you join some of the IoT squad, actually, and you look sharp, do some little changes, try and understand the things that they are doing, and that's it. You can just present it. And even one person can
Sure,
present, you
sure.
can present to different lecturers. It shouldn't just be one lecturer pair, like different lecturers. We can do well, actually.
What I made two people presented the same work to different lecturers.
Wow, I see this.
To different lecturers. And I think one had 75, the other one had 72.
Wow. This guy David Martini.
Yes.
The webinar has actually ended. We ended like at around 9:50. So I don't know. It's ended. We are just talking right now. The webinar itself has ended. We are just talking right now. So a summary will be that it's all about the mini project and how you should go about it. Yeah. Or we can chat on WhatsApp.
That's cool. Or maybe if he has any question, he can ask. Just clarify.
Get rid of.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, if he has any question, he can ask so that I just clarify certain things to him. I think that would be good.
Yeah. David, you can ask your question.
Oh, yeah. Good.
So I joined late, and then I don't know what exactly went on. So actually, I need a like full summary what people talked about and stuff. If like just can just go through for me, and then I'll be very glad. Thank you.
Maybe to make things easy for you and for Dennis, then maybe for me. Maybe just okay, Dennis. I think you should present the slide you presented earlier. I think that one would be of great help, so that you know the staffs we discussed. Hello, Dennis.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sure. So, David, these were the staffs they talked about the overview. So we have the one what's someone to just join. Hey, then unless Dennis.
Yeah, someone just joined again, Charlie. I think
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
So just share the slides to us, and then we'll go through. Maybe we'll get it from there. If anything, we'll ask you questions.
It's just it's just once. You see, it's basically about how to deal with the lecturers, your timelines to finish with the project and other stuff. So maybe when you are picking the topic, know the lecturer you are submitting the topic to, and know what he is interested in. The topic could be a topic maybe someone had already worked on, but then what the person worked on, maybe you've seen some loopholes and flaws in what the person worked on, then you want to improve on whatever the person worked on. That makes what a good topic. Then know the person you are submitting the topic to. If you pick if you pick Castro like this, when you are submitting a software engineering topic to Castro, know how to use your words, know how to coin the topic, put in interesting stuff into the topic so that he would accept. Because even at the end of the day, not all the stuff you put into the topic that you will be able to achieve. It's just a semester work. It's not like the final year project that you have a whole year, kind of 8 months to do the work. So that's it. Then when dealing with your supervisors, know the person you're actually working with. Some of them would want you to be meeting them frequently. Some of them too wouldn't mind. They won't even mind you. The fact that they won't mind you, they won't ask you to be at their offices to present your work doesn't mean that you shouldn't do the work. Doesn't mean that just do any shabby work then what's go and present. Just do something. Some of these lecturers they actually want to see you do something. So you just come and present. You see, it's not at times it shouldn't even be about the work. It depends on how you just present the work. So after all, you have the work. You did the work. So when you are presenting, you can even say certain things that you didn't even include. You just brush through another stuff. Then the project proposal is lecturer specific. Unfortunately, our departments they don't have any structured way of presenting proposal. Lecturer Biana will also pen a proposal, but then normally the proposal you include your project topic in the introduction of the project, the scope of the project, the tools you would use, then the problem you are trying to solve, or the problem you're trying to solve, whether you've seen existing problem that the solution isn't that right, then you want to bring new solution on board, that should be within your proposal. Then with the timeline for the project, you see, we don't, this one, the point 4 depends basically on the individual. You can maybe use 1 week to finish the whole project, then use the rest of the semester to rest. It depends on you, the project. It depends on you, the person working on the project. You see, this is mini projects. So be a bit serious, so that at the end of the day, when you go in for your final year project, you wouldn't find yourself what you want. Because now you are not guaranteed as to whether you get a serious person for the final year project or not. So if you are lazy on your mini projects, fine. Then the final year project, you get another person who is also lazy. What will you be presenting to get that 6 credit hour? That's 600 marks. You see, and if you get anything below 60, you are dead. It can drag your CWA to 40. So that's it. So just be serious with your your mini project as you are working alone. So that when you go in for your final year project, even if your project partner is not serious, you can still do something to represent something. So that's it. Then the scoring too, that one too depends on the lecturer. Some of them wouldn't even look at the work. But then if your topic is a bit interesting, that one alone can make them give the high marks and other stuff. Then best practices for a good project. Make sure just whenever your supervisor asks you to see him, just make sure that you are going to present something new or something you were working on that is not finished, or maybe you made changes or improvement upon whatever was
Yeah, and
needed.
Redolf, this is
Don't just
something
go to
I even
the
missed to talk about. The fact that some of the lecturers actually take attendance, like Dr. Piasa. You coming to present your project, your mini project idea to him, he even actually takes attendance. So if you don't go for those ones, probably you may lose marks. This week we went to see him and he actually gave marks for just coming to see him. He gave marks for that. So I mean that's another point I think I mixed. I didn't talk about during the presentation that I would like to add on. Now, whenever the lecturer or the supervisor asks you to come and see them, you should actually go because Dr. Pesa, for instance, gives marks for just that. Yeah.
We have Prof. Aqua. We've never
so
met him.
so you see the thing is, some of the lecturers you never meet them. That's it. It's the last days that you meet them. But just make sure that do the right thing. Be like this. I never met Dr. Eric say the very day we met him was the day the list came out. We went to his office and unfortunately he was even leaving. And he was like, okay, we should call him at this time, present the topics and other stuff. And after presenting, we never met him. Even the final work presentation, we did it online. And for my final year project, unfortunately, I had pamphlet. It was the last days that we even met pamphlet when we were going to submit the work, that kind of stuff. So the fact that the fact that you wouldn't meet him doesn't mean that don't do the work. Don't present something kind of meaningful and other stuff. Prof. Aqua, you hardly meet him.
Based on the way you are talking, it means you've maybe you know how almost all the lectures are. Can you tell us how almost all of them are? Me in particular, I want to know more about Prof. Aqua. How is his marking like? Is it flexible? How often do we meet him and all that? Like,
Prof. Aqua is flexible, but he doesn't really have time. He's flexible. Just make sure the topic you are presenting is something meaningful. Whatever you want to do is something meaningful.
Yeah.
You just give it a mark.
David, I think you missed the first part. Aliko was talking about the fact that Prof. Hebron is actually one of the best people to have as your supervisors because he's been here for long and he has the experience and he knows how students struggle with this whole mini project thing and stuff. So having Professor Hebron is actually a good thing to have. Just that I think these days I'm in his group and he's making it difficult for the students to actually meet with him. But then having him is a good thing. It's a good thing, yeah, because he has the experience and everything.
Just know some of the lecturers you wouldn't meet them. That's it. Some of the lecturers you wouldn't meet them. That's it.
Then,
so just
then it's I'll test in your DM and WhatsApp. I want to tell you something.
All right.
So the fact that you wouldn't you wouldn't meet him doesn't mean that don't do the work, don't present anything with meaning. You see, the funny thing is, even though you wouldn't be meeting him, you wouldn't meet him, but then the final day that you would meet him, you just go and present something meaningful. That one, so okay, without my supervision, right? He did this, so let me just give him this mark. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So are you okay now, David?
I'm very okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
I think that was some of the stuff they talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. So can we end it now? It's 2 minutes
Right.
past 10. Redolf, I'll text you on WhatsApp. So Eunice, Stanley, Bernard, Calvin, and everybody, David, Sylvester. Let me see if I can miss everybody's name because you are recording this one. So Godfrey Kujo, Prince Asari, Scrappy the Cholo, Scrappy the Cholo. Alright, Eunice Nati, yeah, Radolf, so many. Alright, guys, it was really wonderful having you all. I mean, we are all learning. Nobody knows it all, and we are here to learn. And it's been wonderful having you guys. So I would like to officially end the meeting and then stop the recording. Until anybody has anything else to say, then guys, it's a goodbye.
I see Karen was laughing at this guy.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So then I'll officially end the meeting. Thank you all for joining once again.
Sure.